dollars from here downwards. But at the same time, we have to factor in that if the Canadian dollar weakens, then the Indian rupee also will weaken, commensurate. So then again, if the prices in dollar terms say come to 340 even, but then the rupee equivalent also will go up. So it's very difficult to hazard a guess. At the farm level, yes, the farmers would probably get the same prices, but then a lot will depend on the currency as well.
Thank you very much. I think we've had a very interesting round of discussions on the yellow peas. I don't see any questions from the floor, so I guess we have answered practically all the questions that can arise. I think we are in a very interesting market. If you look, the logistics in Canada are predominant at the moment. So the only factor that one can look at would be what is available in India and what can possibly be shipped from Canada if you're looking at old crop in the next 2 to 3 months. I think that's very, very limited. You'd be surprised at the lineup and the number of vessels that will be coming. I would say possibly 4, maybe another 1 could be squeezed in, but I don't think there is that many vessels in the lineup between now and August. So you're going to have sort of extremely rationed supply from Canada. It has to cater to China, it has to cater to India, and it has to cater to Bangladesh as well. So that is a limitation from the Canadian side. The Indian new crop, everybody's been talking about a very, very good new crop. But like most things in India, you have to see it before you believe it. And it's something which we have to see what happens in the next few weeks. So the dynamics of the market are very, very interesting. From my own perspective, I would be bullish the old crop because I think there aren't that much supply, there is not that much supply coming in from China. Going into new crop, once again, the capacity constraint is something that is going to determine what kind of tonnage comes into the Indian market or into the world market in general. So that's something which is going to hold whatever that comes in. Buyers, as we mentioned, really will have to change their buying pattern. People will have to start thinking a few months forward, and hopefully that results in orderly markets and everybody in the supply chain benefiting without too much volatility. On that note, I'd like to thank all the members of my panel here and hand it over to the moderator. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Iyengar. Before we conclude this panel, I understand that Mr. Virender Machral has a few words to share with us, and then we will, of course, move to the thank you panel.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I won't take much of your time and won't stand between you and the lunch. This is something I have written, just trying to put a day of trader's life in perspective in a poetic manner. Hope you guys like it. The alarm bell has rung and the day has started. The trader is up and even before he has farted. BBM conveys the dismal loading in the vessels. On comes the morning with new set of hassles. He needs to quickly go through the morning drill so as to be ready for the daily grill. Reading through the mails on BlackBerry in hand, how he wishes he had a magic wand. So he could fix the problems sitting in the chair, as he also has a wife to pamper and kids in his care. But that is not to be. And he moves on mechanically, has a grin on face, also smiles ironically. He reaches office, braving the traffic jam, and sipping in coffee in car along with the ham. The inbox has a bundle of mails to be read, which makes him already feel literally dead. The post mail was good and perhaps better, as it was a pleasure and fun reading through the letter. Giving dictation was a luxury and a brilliant chance to keep the secretary close for relationship to enhance. But gone are the days, and he has this bland email where ID does not reflect if sender is a male or a female. You have the official and certain personal mail, if not on Yahoo, then certainly an account on Gmail. He has other things in mind, like need to procure the cargo, to complete the shipments before government put on another embargo. Brokers are making life tough by quoting unrealistic price. He needs to cover maximum before the damn price rise. He is working frantically and has lost the cool of his mind. How he wishes he does not have to go through all this grind. The lunch hour has come and gone and no food for him. He thinks he can avoid acidity, but chances are grim. During all these problems, he still manages to flirt around, trying hard with his aura to break some new ground. The new office assistant is pretty good and smoking hot. And he's been told that she always wears something short. He cannot resist the temptation and approaches her with a smile until buzzer on phone tells him that vessel need to be held for a while. Buyer's representative is acting funny and finding foreign matter in all the holds of the vessel, even when the cargo is decidedly better. Surveyors are trying to convince him, but he does not want to budge. Maybe the slowdown in the market, or he has a genuine grudge. Oh yes, the boss has called a meeting to discuss annual targets. The annual raise is due for 3 years, which he simply forgets. Finance is pressing hard for the documents to be negotiated, and this entire make the miseries all the more aggravated. Well, this was a personal choice to be a commodity trader, and hence need to take all this on stride and climb the ladder, to reach on the top and to earn a place in corporate fraternity and shine like a star by grabbing every ensemble of opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Virender. That is definitely something to think about over lunch. And also, got lots of requests. You need to give us a copy. We're going to upload that so people can enjoy it a lot more. Talking about a perfectly enjoyable session, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to conclude this by presenting our panelists with a memento. May I request the moderator, Mr. Iyengar, to do us the honors. Starting off to save time from your very right, the moderator's left, to Virender Machral. Thank you, sir, for being on the panel. Moving on to the gentleman next to Virender, Brett Dodson. To Shad Popovich. And last but not the least, Anurag Tulchan. May I request our panel to give us a memento photograph, all of us standing up. A memento photograph with the panel, Mr. Iyengar. One photograph. Can I have a photograph of the panel? Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, while this memento photograph is done, I must remind you that we have lunch. Lunch is being served in 3 venues. Before you head for lunch, very importantly, you have to confirm with your hotel, wherever you're staying, whether it's this or the Taj Vivanta or the Fidalgo, what time you depart for the airport to catch your flight back to where you have. Because logistically, it may not be possible for the hotel to make last-minute arrangements if you don't confirm with the hotel as soon as you can. That's preferably today. So remember to confirm with the hotel about your travel back to the airport so that you don't get stuck and maybe miss your flight. Most importantly, lunch is being served in 3 venues. There is the veranda and the chula on the first floor, which has extensive space, great connectivity. You can sit and have a relaxed lunch. We'll start post-lunch at 2:10 with the 3rd business session. Lunch at this side in the pre-conference area, which is to the left of the hall as you exit and enter, is being served now, but it's only standing room, so you might be more comfortable at the veranda and the chula, which is on the first floor. We'll reconvene at 2:10 for the 3rd business session. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Bon appetit. check. Just a quick reminder for presenters for sessions post-lunch, you're requested to please load your presentations onto the laptop if you've not yet done so. Any presentations post-lunch, please approach the tech desk to load your presentations. My apologies, business session 3. Business session 3, like the previous 2 business sessions, will also be equally enthralling. And our panelists and chair are already with us. Before I invite our panelists and chair to grace the dais, I have to remind you that this business session also has a panel discussion on Tuar and Urad, which will commence after this session, after our speakers have made their presentations. As usual, we have presentations of a maximum of 15 minutes each from each presentation of country origin. We have Myanmar and Africa. Post that, we have the panel discussion for 30 minutes on Tuar and Urad. Before I do invite them and gentlemen to the dais, I have to remind you to please be seated and please ensure that all your connected devices are on silent. And as we're starting, once again to remind all of you to please ensure that you confirm with your hotel, wherever you're staying, about your travel back to the airport. If you have any problems, please contact the help desk of IPGA, which is just outside here. With that, ladies and gentlemen, it's my pleasure to welcome to this session our session chair, Mr. Lalit Bangar. I'd also like to request our 2 speakers for this session from Myanmar, Shyam Narsaria, and the speaker who's going to talk about Africa, Jayesh Patel, to grace the dais. Our chair needs no introduction, ladies and gentlemen. He's been involved with the trade and industry for quite a while. He's a qualified chartered accountant, actually, and has a working experience of almost 3 decades, half of which has been with Swiss Singapore Overseas Enterprise Private Limited, where he leads their agribusiness division. Swiss Singapore has a turnover of 4.5 billion US dollars, and it's part of the 40 billion US dollar Aditya Birla Group. That's our chair, Mr. Lalit Bangar. We do have our speakers. May I please request our origin presenters for Myanmar, Shyam Narsaria, and for Africa, Jayesh Patel. With this, it's time to hand you over to the chair for the session, Mr. Lalit Bangar. Thank you, sir.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I know it is a bit difficult after lunch to stay awake, but let us hope that my eminent friends on the dais and the panelists to join later will try their best. On my right is Mr. Shyam Narsaria. He's a chartered accountant, company secretary, and software engineer. And after having worked for Ernst & Young for 2 years, he joined RV International at Yangon in 2001, which is engaged in commodity trading. And he's dealing with Myanmar origin products. On my left is Mr. Jayesh Patel. He's an electrical engineer. So you can see on one side chartered accountant, on one side engineer. You can imagine my situation. He joined ETG Group in 1992, and currently he is holding a position of COO and director. He is global head for Pulses and responsible for resource allocation and operation. So without much ado, I request Mr. Shyam Narsaria to make a presentation on Myanmar. Thank you.
Respected dignitaries, officials, and distinguished guests, a very good afternoon to all. I am Shyam Narsaria from RV International, here today to present about Myanmar Pulses crop and export outlook for the past few years and succeedingly 2014. You know USA, you know Canada, you know Australia. How many of you know Myanmar? May I know how many of you have been to Myanmar? Can you please raise your hand? Oh, very few. Can anybody make out this renowned monument? Anybody? Yes, it is the Shwedagon Pagoda. It is. It is made of gold. 6.5 metric ton gold has been used to make this golden pagoda. And this is the world's largest, the 104 meters tall, oldest pagoda in the world. That is why Myanmar is called the Golden Land. Myanmar, the land of opportunities, the land of trade, and the land for investment. Some important facts of Myanmar: land area, capital, population, language, currency, principal exports that includes rice, pulses and beans, marine products, minerals, gems, and natural gas. Major trading partners include India, Singapore, Thailand, China, Hong Kong, Malaysia, Japan, and Indonesia. Myanmar is the hottest emerging economy for resources. It's been a previously ultra-closed society that's now starting to open up. Myanmar's economy is on track to grow by 6.5% in financial year 2013-14, and the government aims to increase the GDP by 9.1% in financial year 2014-15. Foreign exchange reserve rose to an estimated $4.6 billion at March 2013.